Hey guys, this is Megan with Thousand Generation Farms. Today we are going to be going over our 2021 home garden plan. It's getting pretty close to the time where we need to start planting some certain vegetables and then the rest will follow. So I figured I would do a video on our plan. Won't you come farming with us? So here is our plan drawn out. I haven't really gone over this too much with Joseph, but he usually goes along with my ideas if they are pretty sane. So I figured this will be pretty close. But anyways, as you can see here, I just made a list of the things that we had talked about planting. I left some spaces down here just in case I thought of ones that I had forgot. Most of these we planted last year. If we didn't, I will let you know. Tomatoes we did, peppers we did. We actually had like the regular big tomatoes. And then we also had some small orange cherry tomatoes, which were super good. Like I would go out there and just pull them off of the stem and eat them. We got all of these seeds and plants, some of them were actually plants, from our local home and garden store. So that's kind of why we didn't really know about the cherry tomatoes. We just thought they were another kind of tomato, but we really like them. So we're gonna try and find some of those again. But what we do with our tomatoes, our peppers, and our onions is we usually make salsa. So that's, it's important to get like a variety of that stuff. So tomatoes, peppers, last year, if I can remember, we had habaneros, bananas, Anaheim, peppers. I'm not sure if I'm missing one, but we'll definitely, like Joseph loves different kinds of peppers and he likes hot salsa. So I know we'll get a few different kinds of that. Onions, beets. Beets, funny story. My parents used to grow them in the garden growing up and I never liked them. Like I remember my brother and I thought they tasted like dirt, so gross. Like we had to like gag to eat them. And our parents were like, if you don't finish your supper, you know, you don't get a snack later. Your snack later is your supper, which is good because it taught us to eat what we were given. And so when beets were on the table, that was so hard. But it's funny because now I love them and they're so good for you. And they're so easy to plant. Lettuce, we did lettuce last year. I feel like I couldn't keep up with it because Joseph does not like lettuce. So, and I think we probably planted like 10 heads of lettuce. So we might scale that back a little bit. We did not do spinach or kale last year, but I have been eating more of these and putting them in my smoothies. So that's something I am interested in growing this year. We'll see if they grow very well because last year we grew carrots and they didn't really produce very well. So those are another thing. Potatoes, we did a ton of potatoes last year. We had two different kinds. I'm not sure what they were, but we still have some, I believe, like down in the basement, and we use those throughout the year. So definitely do a lot of potatoes. Sweet potatoes, we did not grow last year, but we both love sweet potatoes. We love to cook with them. They're so healthy for you. So we're gonna try and do those. Watermelon, we tried to grow this last year, but it was kind of on a part of the garden, like an end, you know, so they could vine out, but it was on an end that wasn't tilled very well. And then it was just kind of like hilly. So we never really saw any plant from them grow and we just used seeds. But I really love watermelon, so I think I just switched them around like in the garden where we put them. So we'll see if they grow. Strawberries are new this year. My parents always grew these. These are perennials, so they come back every year. And I'll show you where I'm gonna put them, but I hope they can grow because I love them and you can just kind of go grab them off the stem like I was talking about with the cherry tomatoes. Grapes, I'm not even sure what kind of grapes these are. Joseph's family, you know, when he was growing up, they actually had like vining grapes and that's what we're doing. We still have the same vines. For a few years though, they haven't, like they've grown, but they just haven't been very healthy because there's been different bugs that have got to them and we haven't really like felt a need for them. So we haven't taken very good care of them, but we just trimmed the vines back a lot, hoping that these will grow and be be useful this year because I do want to try and make jelly and maybe grape juice. That if it works out, maybe another video you might see. Green beans, we tried these last year. Joseph usually, like his family always did the bush beans, but my family did the pole beans. I think that's what they're called, like the ones that vine out. And I thought the pole beans were way easier to pick because he hated picking those beans off the bushes, like way down below. But the pole beans didn't really, I think like 2 out of like 20 plants actually sprouted up, and then it was like nothing ever grew from them. So I think we might just go back to bush beans because we know that there's been success out here with those on the farm. And plus we love beans. Like my mother-in-law cans them for us. And so I'd love to, can them and then just have a ton of them because they're good for you as well. Last year we did cabbage, broccoli, and cauliflower. The broccoli, all 3 turned out really well. The broccoli and cauliflower, I feel like we cut them too late. I think Joseph would say the same because like the cauliflower is getting purple, which I know some people eat it like that, but it just didn't taste very quality when we would eat it. So I'm going away from cauliflower this year, but broccoli I'm going to try again just because it's easy to put in my smoothies. Cabbage we're going to do again. A lot of times my mother-in-law cooks a lot with this, so I figured the more the better. Cucumbers we did not do last year, but I want to try to can pickles. That may be another video you guys might see if it works out. I also just love cucumbers and cucumber salads, like in general. Asparagus, we've always had asparagus growing, but because it's a perennial, I believe the plant we have comes back every year, but it's kind of been like thinning out. So not sure if we'll just try to take better care of that plant this year or if we'll add more. But we both like asparagus, like especially if you eat it with steak or something like that. So let's just start down here. So we have like 2 tires. This is really good drawing. And the asparagus has been planted in one of them. The other one has like weeds. So I've weeded both of them out. And then I'm going to try and put the strawberries here just because since the asparagus always grow up here, I figured that would be a good place for the strawberries, and then it kind of confines it. So you still have, sorry, there's stuff all over this paper. So you still have like a good batch, but it won't like grow into the grass, hopefully, or anything like that because these are elevated. Let's see if I can remember all this stuff. So alongside our garden, we have like the grapevines, and they're on posts. So that's what this is. So as you can tell, I made like little icons for all the veggies and stuff and the plants. So these are going to be grapes. These I believe are beets. And we actually had the beets over here earlier, but this is like where we planted the watermelon last year. So I think since beets tend to grow really well in this soil, I wanted to put them in the hardest place to grow just because I figured they would probably still do well there, and we just need to really till this up back here, I think, and otherwise it'll be good. This is lettuce, this is spinach, this is onions, we have kale here, next is spinach. I'm just gonna do a little bit of each just to see what it does. We have potatoes here, we'll do a ton of those mounds. We have sweet potatoes, do a few of those. These are green beans, cucumbers. These are, what is that? Cabbage. So cabbage and broccoli. I think last year we probably did like 4 or 5 of each. Not sure how much we'll do of each this year, but probably close to that or a little less. These are peppers and tomatoes. We'll do a ton of those. And like our hydrant is over here. So the potatoes and the peppers and the tomatoes all need a ton of water. So it's just easy to have them over here. Like last year we had the peppers and tomatoes over here as well. And it was like you had to string the hose through the garden. You had to go around and it was just a mess. These are the watermelon plants. I just am going to do 2 because usually 1 plant gives off plenty. Like I could probably just do 1, and maybe depending on like the space we have, maybe I will just do 1. But I figured that way these can vine out and not like be super like entangled with the other plants around it. And as you can tell, this is our garden. Should have said that before, but that's kind of the shape of it. On the farm, we grow soybeans and corn, and a lot of times, like, even though we don't keep any of that, like, to eat, obviously, because it goes to cattle and it goes to fuel and stuff, like, it just goes to the co-op. We don't usually ever grow sweet corn, and that's just because so many people around here grow it, and a lot of times they give it to us, you know, for a good deal, and we like corn, but we don't eat it a ton, so not gonna do sweet corn. I love carrots, but like I said, they just don't grow very well on our farm. I don't know if it's just because there's not as much sand in our soil. I've heard that sand makes a difference. Besides that, I think now what I'm going to do is just go show you our garden space. I plan to do like update videos on this like a month out after we've planted, or first I'll do one when we're planting, then I'll do like a month out just to show you the growth of the plants, and then just like kind of go on from there, like some when we're picking and you know, what comes up first. Like I said, there are some plants that need to be planted earlier, and I believe Joseph told me onions. So I'm thinking we'll get those in the ground soon. We do need to till the garden up though with the rototill, which usually Joseph does that. So that will be our next step. But like with this map, I kind of mapped out with the icons of the vegetables and the plants and stuff. The reason I put them next to each other, you know, in a certain way, I actually looked on Pinterest last year when we were planting our garden, and it just recommended like, one link I saw recommended like planting certain plants next to each other because they help each other grow better, like they thrive off of each other. And so that's kind of where I got my garden plan from. We just kind of picked out what we wanted to plant, and then I went and looked, you know, what's best to plant by what. And last year it seemed to work great. So this year we're gonna do the same thing. Even though I moved some things around, I think it'll still work. And last year we canned salsa, and then we bagged beets. But this next year, like I was saying, you know, I want to try pickles. I want to try grape, you know, stuff like jelly and juice, as well as green beans, and I want to find a way to like preserve lettuce and kale and spinach. So if you guys know of any good way like to keep that around, even just like for a few weeks, like rather than buying it from the store and then after a few days it's like nasty and it stinks, let me know. Put it in the comments so I can, you know, use that theory, you know, try it out, see if it works for us, because I love that stuff. I love putting it in my smoothies, but it just goes bad so quick and it's so expensive. And other things, probably we kind of have a goal in mind of like selling stuff at the farmer's market that is local here. I'm not sure how realistic that is when both of us work during the day and then we come home, we have to do farm stuff, but that's just a goal for the future. So we'll see if that happens this year too. So here is our garden space. It's kind of messy. Joseph did put some like manure down when he was cleaning the barn out, which is awesome because I think that will help fertilize it. I know like last year our tomatoes were kind of like suffering, and then my dad recommended putting these fertilizer balls. I don't even know what they were. We'd have to ask Joseph, but then they just seemed to do great after that. So I'm hoping that this fertilizer helps. And like I said, we need to rototill it. So we actually didn't get it rototilled like after everything died off. So I don't know if that'll affect it very much or what. But and then this is our grapevine. If you guys know anything about grapes, let us know. I'm seriously probably oblivious, but this was like full of branches, dead branches, all that stuff. And then we get these like beetles. I think that's what they are, that really just eat the leaves, and then I think they ruin the grapes. And so not sure what we need to do to take care of them better, but Joseph did like trim a whole bunch of the old dead like stuff off. So hoping that helps. But we have 3 plants, and they usually produce quite a bit, so hoping that works. I don't know if you can tell here, but there is like from here to here, there's a little hump in the ground, and that's where we had our watermelon. And I'm not sure if that's why it didn't grow very well, but so we're gonna try and plant the beets here, I think, this year. I say that, and I don't know if Joseph will want to do that, but the beets just always seem to grow really well. So I figure if you put it on the hardest place to grow, they'll still grow, and then you can save some of the better room for other plants. These are some of our cages for the tomatoes and the peppers. They're not very pretty, but it doesn't need to look pretty to work. And then we have these little cages for the cabbages, and some of these we'll use for the peppers as well. This fence panel that's laying down, we actually, I think, used that for the peas last year, because we planted peas, and they vined pretty good, but we just didn't get enough that it was really worth planting them. These are the tires I was talking about. They really look kind of crummy right now, but they had a ton of weeds standing up in them, and so I weeded a lot of them. I can tell a lot of the stuff's dying. The weeds are dying that's left, so that's good. We're gonna weed them again. These are our old asparagus plants, as you can see, and it's seriously just right there. So there's like 6 of them maybe. So hoping to get more in there so they produce better. Put the strawberries there, and this thing is an old greenhouse, which is awesome, and I'm hoping one day to have a video on a renovation of it. It kind of is an eyesore almost, just because it hasn't been used in a long time, but I know Joseph's family used it and it worked great. I don't know much about using a greenhouse, but I think that if we wanted to expand our garden operation, sell more like at farmers markets and stuff and locally, then this would definitely be a key feature to that. Well, thanks guys for coming along today as I shared with you our 2021 home garden plan. I will keep you updated on this. As I said before, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Throughout this video, I believe it's in the beginning, there is a little subscribe box that comes up in one of the bottom corners. You can just click on that. It allows you to subscribe to our channel, and subscribing to our channel basically just gives you access to all of our videos easier, and it kind of just tells you when we are doing a video, what we're up to. It's just kind of cool feature, and it helps us in our channel. It helps us to tell people what Nebraska farming is about, and then especially, you know, being small farmers in Nebraska, what that's about and how it's different from being a big farmer. Also, don't forget to comment on our videos. Like this video, I had a few questions for you guys. You know, if you know anything about grapes and grapevining and how that works and what to do to the vines and the grapes, like to make them grow better, what kind of fertilizer, stuff like that, like let us know that. I think there was just another question about something garden wise that I had asked, I can't remember, but leave your comments, leave suggestions in the comment box as well. Don't forget to like our video if you think it's awesome, and we will see you guys next time on 1000 Generation Farms.